Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome along to the Championship review show. It's the end of a 3-game week. Always a bit of a nightmare when you're trying to cover the Championship, but I think we've managed it and I can relax now and do this last part of the week. It's the game week 19 review. The end of the 3-game week, as I said, congratulations need to go to Leeds, Fulham, and Blackburn, out of nowhere. Blackburn with a perfect 3-game week. All of those teams recorded 9 points. West Brom can still do it tomorrow night. Goals everywhere. Some ridiculous score lines. 4s, 5s, 6, 7 goals in certain games. 7 goals at Bristol, 7 goals at Brentford. Let's start up at the top, which means Leeds United. Remember the caveat to that, West Brom can go above them with a win tomorrow night. It was Leeds 4, Borough 0. Hernandez stands up for Bamford to head in after 3 minutes. In stoppage time, Klitsch gets the second. A bit of a lucky one this. Bamford gets in the channel, his cross is deflected, and then Klitsch's shot is also deflected. 67 is 3-0. Costa kind of bumps his way through for such a classy player, smashes it then left-footed into the goal. And this is a great goal on 73 by Klitsch again. It's a corner, beautifully worked. Phillips to Hernandez, back to Phillips, to Klitsch. Comes inside, curls it in the top corner. 4-0 to Leeds, who are really at it now, aren't they? 5 wins on the trot. I think that's only matched by Swansea earlier in the season. Might even have been the first 5 games that Swansea won, didn't they? Or thereabouts, could be wrong about that. So 5 wins in a row, 8 games unbeaten. They are 2 points now ahead of the 2 points per game total, which always gets you automatic promotion. Defending at a rate of 0.52 goals conceded per game. So basically, on average, if they score, they win. They're defending so well. It feels like Helder Costa is finally now starting to slow burn his way into this, which is a big bonus. Now Roberts came out and Hernandez went into the 10 position this time. They look really, really, really strong. And for once, not needing to create a massive XG to score some goals. We don't, the type of goals they score, particularly the 2 Klitsch goals where they're shots from sort of the edge of the area, we haven't seen Leeds score those type of goals. It's always trying to create the, massively high probability chance. So good to see them doing that, and a big 4-0 win. Huge thumbs up to Leeds, who really, really look good at the moment. As I've said before on here, injuries and what they do in January, but if he keeps this core group that he's got playing at the moment in the main fit, should be fine, shouldn't they? Should be able to do it this season. But hey, we never know what obstacles are going to come up in the Championship. Borough, they followed up their first win in forever with this here heavy defeat. One thing pricked my attention, the 3 subs they brought on. Bear in mind they're away at now top of the league. They brought on a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old and a 21-year-old. And I know my Championship, I hadn't really much knowledge on any of the 3 subs. What that means is this is what they're competing with this season, which is very different than past season. Radaby Leeds says, crowd singing there's only one Johnny Woodgate yesterday. Yeah, I'm sure they were after giving him a nice 4-goal win. Woodgate, obviously, ex-Leeds player, played in a great Leeds team, didn't he, under David O'Leary. Look, Borough's season won't be defined by playing away to Leeds. It will be playing teams around them in the bottom 6, where it looks like they're going to be for most of it, frankly. So they need to pick up those wins, which they have done. They're 3 wins. Mikey seems to say it was nice. Wasn't sarcastic for Woodgate, but there we go. I'm sure if he crap-housed the 1-0, the Leeds fans wouldn't have been so pleased to see him, would they? I just think Borough need to erase this one and move on, don't they? So Leeds top, and if West Brom draw, yes, the goal difference is superior, Leeds will stay top. It'll be tied up on 40. We'll talk about West Brom in just a sec. Borough down in 20th, starting to shake out that bottom six now, and Huddersfield can't quite get away, can they? On to game number 2, which is tomorrow night. We can't say too much because it hasn't happened. Preston versus West Brom. I will be watching this one. Check out my stream afterwards. Any news on Mike Hock signing for Derby? Is this a Wayne Rooney joke? Pastor says we are top of the league. Some nice Leeds presence in here. So West Brom looking to go back, and they can match Leeds' 5 wins on the trot. If those teams at the top can motivate each other, they are going to all go flying away into the distance. Preston, they're looking to arrest a 2-game losing streak all the way down to 6th. That's the way it's been this season. West Brom in 2nd, Preston in 6th. That will be tomorrow night. But a game that has already happened, and you can see my review of this one as well because it was on the telly, was Swansea 1, Fulham 2 on Friday night. Fulham doing their best to keep up with the pace set by Leeds and by West Brom. Mitrovic on fire here. Swansea 1, Fulham 2. Brian crosses, camera off the bar. Mitro on the spot, heads in. Then it's a giveaway by Pettersson. Quick counter by Fulham. They get a bit lucky. Onuma mishits it, but Mitrovic in the box. He's just finishing everything. Another one of these Championship cheat codes. Clearly too good for the division, isn't he? Byers heads home to get one back, but they cannot get the equaliser at any point. Fulham get the win, and Fulham, like Leeds, a 9-point week. And given what the top guys are up to, that could have been a very big gap if Fulham hadn't managed to follow suit with a 3-game, 9-point week of their own. So the gap is 4 up to West Brom still to play. Scott Parker, we questioned whether he had a plan B or whatever. He's actually let Marek Rodek and Abubakar Kamara play themselves into this team. So he's not as stubborn as maybe we thought, because Bettinelli and certainly Knockaert are big names. So he's using his squad. I guess just the chief point, though, is if you've got Mitrovic in this division, 10 goals in his last 9 games. Absolutely brilliant from Big Mitro. Swansea out of the top 6 now. Cooper, who tinkers again in the 3-game week. No Selena here, no AU down the middle. Byers changes position. Surridge plays, I think that was only his 2nd start. Pettersson goes wide, AU goes wide. Doesn't quite work for Steve Cooper. 2 points in 4 games, poor. 3 wins in 14 games in all competitions. Are Swansea regressing to the mean? Did they play above themselves in August? And they're actually going to be in the 2nd quartile between 7th and 12th. I wonder. When I wondered that before, they got 7 points in 3 games and went straight back up into the top 6. So they have proved me wrong before. Fulham 3rd, Swansea 8th now. Forest 0, Cardiff 1. I was hanging out with the Forest fans on Wednesday night, and they were all asking me, do you think we can get top 2? Do you think we can get top 2? Well, back down to earth after the 4-0 win at QPR for this one. Cardiff getting the win. Mendes Lane cuts inside and scores the only goal. Curls it in nicely with his right foot. So Forest on a high, still 3 wins in 4 going into this game. Carvalho gets the start. They've tried for a season and a half to fit him in now, haven't they? Silva stays deeper in midfield. Does not work against parachute team with new manager Cardiff City. They stay 4th, still have a game in hand. But the narrative now is that you might have a Leeds, Norwich, Sheffield United situation from last year where 3 teams go away and they're pushing themselves for automatic and leave the rest behind. Who knows? There is a gap of 7 points. Remember, Forest don't play the game in hand until January, so it could be 8 points as well if West Brom can get the win. Cardiff did Leeds a favour yesterday. Fulham are the team to worry about. They have one thing we don't, a prolific striker. I wonder how many points Leeds would have if they had Mitrovic. Hey? Great win for Cardiff. Great start for Neil Harris. 2 straight wins now. 7 points from the 3-game week, and there was 2 away games in it. So really good work. Medine keeps his place. Ward returns from suspension on the bench. So still no 4-4-2, which I've been expecting, but not getting. Tomlin back in as well. He's got a goal and an assist already under Harris, so that seems to be working out quite well. And Bluebirds back into the chasing pack. They're 10th and they're only 3 good games away from getting up into that top 6, and Warnock couldn't just quite get them ticking over before he left, didn't he? So great start from Harris. They're in good nick, and if you include Warnock's last couple of games, actually 10 points from the last 5, which reaches my gold standard of 2 points per game. So looking better for Cardiff. Forest 4th, Cardiff 10th. Okay, here's one of the crazy high-scoring games. It's Bristol City 5, Huddersfield 2, 4-1 at half-time as well. Let's do these quickly. So Brownhill gets the first one on 11, kind of bounces in off him, off Feynman's shot. Congolo gets an own goal. He arrives with Baker and just forces everything into the goal for 2-0. Carlin Grant scores again, takes Bakuna's pass, swivels in to make it 2-1. Brownhill and Pereira, they look like a nice little combination down the right-hand side into the box. Eliasson heads in. His numbers are crazy for someone who's not played many games, Nicholas Eliasson. And here he comes again. He's going to get an assist as well. Gets his corner back, crosses Ashley Williams heads in. So that's 4-1 before half-time. Weinman gets in behind, goes round the keeper. Great finish as well. When you go around the keeper and you set yourself and there's a defender back on the line, sometimes striker panics. No, he blasts this one into the top corner. Weinman, great job. Bakuna fires in another one for 5-2 off Kachunga's layoff. So Bristol City, great performance, back to winning ways. Remember, they went down 4-1 at West Brom in the week. And this looked like a very attacking sort of 4-4-2. Who scored had it down as a 4-4-2 with Nagy and Masengo in the centre. Brownhill goes off to the right with Pereira, which Brownhill's not a wide midfielder, but for a couple of the goals looked really good. Eliasson down the left now has 7 assists and a goal from 4 starts. Obviously sub minutes in that as well, but maybe this is the way forward now for the Robins. We've mentioned it with QPR and with Luton that, well, if they don't attack, that's their strength. They're not going to get anywhere. You may as well just go for it. Well, definitely paid dividends here. Oliver asked about Rat. We'll come on to Millwall. They are they're down the order a bit today. They're game number 10, Oliver, so do hang around in the stream. Huddersfield officially on a poor run now, 2 points from the last 4, and they can't shake the bottom 6. They're still in there, and I know it doesn't happen down the bottom. Very rare 2 teams win on the same weekend, although Borough and Luton did last weekend, but then you look back, that hasn't happened in any of the other last 6 game weeks. But they could get, sucked back down into it. So new test for the Cowleys, need to get them going again. Carlin Grant still up top, very impressive in the scoring stakes. Bristol City 5th, Huddersfield 19th, and we should say, I'm sure everybody's heard about the issues that Benica Fobe has had, and obviously lots of positive tweets. So if you believe in that sort of thing, we will send him good vibes, the injured Bristol City striker. Game number 6, Brentford 7, Luton 0. God, I mean, I've got a soft spot for both of these teams, but oh dear, Luton. It's going to be a bad day when on 6 minutes your fullback chests it past your own goalkeeper and allows a tap-in for Brian Mbuemo. Goal number 2, Watkins sweeps home from De Silva's cross, then Jensen and Watkins. Nice goal, this one, actually, but it very much had the air of taking the mick, if you know what I mean. Cuts back with the left foot and makes it 3-0. It's 4-0 on 40 minutes. De Silva, little dummy, leaves his man on the deck. Curls in the corner, left-footed. Cham says we could have had 10 eased up after half-time. Stoppage time. Ben Rama, disgusting chip over the defence. He's showboating from inside the first half, for goodness sake. De Silva does poor old Potts, who's having a nightmare, and puts in for 5-0. Ben Rama with a comedy penalty as well, kind of does a little hop, leaves the keeper on the floor, side foots it in. And then De Silva gets his hat-trick as well. From the spot after Ben Rama. Steve says Cowley's in trouble, look who's next. I think Steve's a Leeds fan, so I assume it's a Yorkshire derby coming up for Huddersfield. Anyone remember a month or so ago when I was criticising Brentford for not scoring enough goals? Do you remember? The first few games they were well underperforming in terms of scoring, but there we go. Hip to the game says this is the Brentford everyone was expecting to see this season. Yeah, amen to that. And when Brentford click, we know that this can happen. Super Lead says Pontus who? Well, Pontus has been partnered by young Ethan Pinnock from Barnsley these past few games. So I wonder whether he'll stay in when Janvier gets back in. De Silva as well. He was never one of the glitzy names last year when there's Mopai there and Konza and Ben Rama. But De Silva is really at it. 6 goals this season, hat-trick in this game. What I will say about Brentford is they've gone up to 7th, and there's a bit of a sense that Preston have slipped a little. Swansea are trending downwards. Sheffield Wednesday have been off it, haven't they? There's a bit of a sense that the other teams around them are not trending the right way. Chris says need to follow that with a win. Cham says Pinnock deserves his shirt. Cham says De Silva replaced Sawyers, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Norgard, sort of the deep line playmaker, but certainly as a number 8, De Silva looking very, very good. Lots of goals from outside the box as well. Luton, they won in midweek. So as much as this seems a ridiculous thing to say, if you're down the bottom and you get 3 points across a 3-game week, that is actually okay, because you're looking for a point per game to get up to 46 points or around that. That will keep you up. So despite losing 7-0, the big picture is they've picked up points this week. They've got a win. So that's the positive side, but 7-0, that's not the one for confidence. I do admire Luton. I admire they stick to their principles. However, when you're going away to Brentford, who notoriously create tons of chances and tons of shots, especially at home, and your principles are 2 up front, a number 10 behind, a rotating midfielder, and your fullbacks bombing forward, there may need to be a little tweak. Everyone who saw the Reading and Leeds game in midweek, Reading gave Leeds a good game. It was stodgy and not nice, but they may pick up more points doing that against top teams than Luton will. But then again, Luton may win the odd one. So it's a difficult one. We like the way Luton play, but maybe a little tweak defensively. I don't know, but there you go. They need to erase this one from the memory, and it won't do the goal difference any good. That's put Luton to, my God, 40 goals against in 19 games. There you go. Brentford 7th, Luton 21st. They're not in the bottom 3 though. Charlton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 3. I did this one in detail. Again, this was a Sky game, so check out that video if you are interested. Fletcher, great goal. Bannon, beautiful cross. Fletcher glances it in. Bond with a really typical Charlton goal. Sprint, and finish on the counter. Fletcher, they make it a bit hard going of it, Sheffield Wednesday, but Fletcher gets a penalty on 80 and then New from reaches cross on 94. Wraps it up. Good performance by Sheffield Wednesday. Got there in the end. Deserved win. First win in 7 games for them. Back in the chasing pack for the playoffs. You wonder whether someone might get in the playoffs with a low points total this year, given how the points are being shared out and how we might get, I don't know, 3 or 4 teams, if you include Forest, on a high 80 plus points total, and then a few, below that actually getting into the playoffs. We'll see how that pans out. Charlton ravaged by injury, aren't they? And they're dropping down the table like a stone. Sadly. No Perrington, Pearce, Cullen, Gallagher, Williams, Taylor, all players that would be first teamers, wouldn't they? Form on the pitch suffering badly. No wins in 7, 2 wins in 13, only 9 points in those games. So it's basically, since the last game in August, Charlton have been on relegation form. Not good, but good news off the pitch, because their takeover, other than it to be ratified, whatever that means, is going to go through. Mr. De Chatelet is out, which they would have wanted. Sheffield Wednesday 9th, Charlton 17th. Game number 8, Stoke 1, Blackburn 2. If you'd called who was going to get the 9-point weeks, I don't think many people would have called Charlton, because they didn't. I mean Blackburn, don't I? Oliver just put a comment about Charlton. Excuse me, what a mistake to make. Scruffy opener from Dak. 81, Stoke get the equaliser. Walton's in the crowd, bounces in off Evans for an own goal. And then Dak again feeds Bennett, and Sam Gallagher gets a goal. I believe that's his 2nd goal. I've been saying they invested the money in him. He needs to deliver. Maybe he's onto it now. Comes off the bench and scores. Brilliant week from Blackburn. Perfect 9-pointer. 4 wins in 5 as well. Bradley Dack scored in all 3 wins this week. He's in good form. As I say, Gallagher maybe gets some confidence if he's got Danny Graham there to help support as well. He started and Gallagher came on. He'll be looking to get the number 9 spot, but start repaying that fee. And a couple of goals now, so let's see if he does it. Rovers in the top half, looking good. Can they keep it up? Stoke back-to-back wins under Nathan Jones was followed by 3 straight defeats. Now back-to-back wins under Michael O'Neill is also followed by back-to-back defeats. No matter how many times I say Stoke will be all right, we are now 19 games in and they're still second from bottom. Super Lee says Ben's physical, Batty and speed. Sadly, they're called Marcus and Stewart, but it's a similar theme there, isn't it? Quite like that Leeds midfield. Speed, Batty, McAllister and Strachan. Brilliant, love that. Blackburn 11th into the top half. Stoke 23rd and still not going anywhere fast. Game number 9. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Barnsley have won their first game since the opening day of the season. Well done, Gerhard Struber. Barnsley 3, Hull 1. I said I found Hull fascinating. Beat Preston 4-0, Fulham 3-0, and then lose at Barnsley. Very strange. Mowat stalks the edge of the box as the attack develops. When it comes back to him, he strokes in the top corner. Please tell me one is. They are both moving. Don't scare me, Steve. He's talking about the fish in the background there. Mowat then slips it forward on 75. He's had a good season, Mowat, considering he's playing in the worst team statistically in the league. Lovely step over from Brown. Barra in there and finishes for 2-0. But as happens when you're down the bottom, Lewis Potter gets a goal, nods in off Eves. Super LFU FC says, Hull have. Here's Bowen. They are shafted without him. Well, maybe, yeah. They do have Krasicki as well, I guess. 95th minute, Barnsley shore up the victory. Good goal this, Thomas down the right. Brown lays it off. Beautiful hit by Chaplin, first time with the left foot. Well done. So Hull, very strange, erratic form at the moment. They seem to be playing very well against the big teams and obviously drew against Middlesbrough recently. This defeat here comes against Barnsley down the bottom, although they did lose at West Brom in that run. And there is something in. If Bowen doesn't score, what happens? I'm sure someone will draw up the stats for that. But I think if Hull finish 12th where they are now, I think Grant McCann will have done a good job. I guess what everyone's thinking is, when do they sell Bowen? How much for? And who do you bring in, and how do you spend that money, and do the alarms that you have it? Barnsley, brilliant. Really pleased for them, because you don't want to see anyone get cut adrift. You want it to be competitive down there, and they're only 5 points from safety now with that win. Thus is the standard at the bottom of the table. Wins few and far between. They're still conceding truckloads of goals. Conceded 1 in this one as well. 38 goals against, although Luton have overtaken. And now let's see if Struber can get them going. Game number 10, Birmingham 1, Millwall 1. Gary Rowett going back to one of his many former clubs in this division. Jed Wallace gets yet another assist into Williams. What's happened to him? He got like a assist running down the wing and crossing for Smith at the weekend, and smashes one in the top corner from 25 yards. Do we give Gary Rowett credit for turning him into the new Frank Lampard? I jest. Great goal by Williams, though. The equaliser, though, you wouldn't think Millwall would be vulnerable from corners, but Clark Salter heads home Crowley's corner. Millwall, they're still in a good spot. Oliver asks, what are the odds on getting Bart from Ipswich and keeping hold of Jed Wallace in January? The issue with Białkowski, Oliver, is we gave him a ridiculously good contract. I think he's making the thick end of about 18 grand a week, which is crazy. So it just depends what kind of a deal you can do. This guy is not a millionaire, so maybe he wants to stick with that contract. We shall see. That's going to be the sticking point. You would think if no one can pay it, then he stays on loan, but hey, who knows? There's a couple of questions came in then, I missed them answering that. The thing floating at the back is one of the pumps. Right, Birmingham, sorry, we're on to, yeah, they're sticky at the moment. No wins in 5. Goals have dried up, haven't they? Only 19 goals, 1 per game for Birmingham. Someone asked about Rowett and how he keeps getting jobs. Obviously interviews well, doesn't he? Him and Monk, if you checked out my video on the channel of the last 50 Championship managers to leave their jobs, I think 4 times or 5 times it's Monk and 4 times or 5 times it's Rowett. So, yeah, those two all over the show. Millwall trucking along, fine. Need to win the home games to follow this up, don't they? Probably context now, would be disappointed not to have beaten Wigan, especially given, well, we'll go on to that in 2 games' time. Millwall 13th, Birmingham 15th. Bit says, come on Ipswich, who drew in the FA Cup today, but we're on the Championship, so I can't talk about my Ipswich, sadly. Game 11, Derby 1. QPR 1. Derby's ridiculous run of winning at home and losing away is over now. But Waghorn, speaking of Ipswich, the next Ipswich player, scores a lovely free kick with his left foot. But QPR get a penalty end of the first half. Eze, we saw it like Ben Rama's penalty actually, and some nice muggings off with the penalties this weekend. Eze, cheeky kind of half stop and slides it in the other corner. So the incredible runs over. That would have been a 9th straight game of home, away, etc., etc. But they get the draw. Would have been a 6th straight home win as well. Wayne Rooney meets everybody. Penalty was a travesty, says Cham. Super LFC, Eze was quality against us, to be fair. Yeah, Eze is a very, very good player, isn't he? He will make a lot of money from playing football in the Premier League, one would imagine. So Wayne Rooney at Derby for the first time. He'll be making his debut in a month, I believe, against Barnsley on January the 2nd or 3rd. Something thereabouts. I'll be there actually, I have a ticket. QPR take a point, which is probably some sense of improvement. I won't answer that really question. Warburton going for experience here. Rangel comes in at right back. Jeff Cameron comes in the middle. Pugh off Hugo. So Wells on the bench, Chair on the bench, even though they've been stars. Rangers 7 without a win, only 3 points in that time, sliding fast down the table. Derby 14th, QPR 16th. Someone just asked me best managers in the last 5 years in the Championship. God, Chris Wilder, Nuno Santo for just getting it straight away. Someone else can tell me some others in the comments. Well, we do the final game here. Bielsa, yeah, fine. You say Bielsa's biggest manager in this league's history. Rafa Benitez has a pretty good CV with some Champions Leagues and a couple of Spanish titles. So Rafa would be probably in the argument there as a bigger name as Bielsa. Obviously, he doesn't have his never heard of him. Yeah, doesn't have his kind of cult following that Bielsa seems to have around the world. Wigan 1, Reading 3. Mark and Harris getting shout out. Joe Garner gets the opener in this one, heads in and then follows up to put that one in. Debate is now going on the managers. Puskás is going to score a hat-trick in 5 minutes. Outstanding. Penalty for the first one. Second one, leaves Mulgrew on his backside, finishes from the angle. And then McClary does well, plays him into the space and puts a hat-trick in 5 minutes. How long did it take Robbie Fowler to get that hat-trick for Liverpool against Arsenal? Was it less than 5 minutes? This must be one of the quickest hat-tricks going, mustn't it? Reading, nice turnaround here, incredible 5 minutes. No Swift as well. Bowen still managing to pull out all the guys that Jose Gomez bombed out. McCleary gets a start. Charlie Adam gets some minutes, my God. Lucas Shaw is back as well. So another striking option there. Good response to the 2 straight defeats. And when you look at the points, which I always do, and the big picture, 13 points from 7 games. That's absolutely fine, isn't it? Wigan fans doing a lot of booing at the end of this. I don't know if they're unhappy with Paul Cook now. 2 points in 7 games, so obviously no wins in those 7. But more ominously, 3 straight home defeats. Oh, interesting one there. Martin says, time up for Graham Jones. Interestingly, Martin, you're obviously a Luton fan. Would you take Nathan Jones back? I know they weren't happy with the way he left, but hey, available now, isn't he? 3 straight home defeats for Wigan, and that's what they counted on hadn't they? That brilliant home form. Bottom three for Wigan, not looking very good at all. Reading 18th, Wigan 22nd. Right, let's go through the individuals and then we'll take some questions. Dak up to 9 goals in the scorer chart. Grant up to 11. Watkins joins Bowen on 12. Mitro 15 already. Can he get 30? Key passers, they're not moving. It's always the same guys. Downing, Bannon, Mowat, Izzy Brown, John Swift still top up there on the average most key passes in the game. Defences, Sheffield Wednesday 18 conceded. That is in 19 games. That's excellent. That's less than a goal per game. Brentford and Forest 14 conceded. Yep, very good. Leeds, brilliant. 10 conceded all season. Right, anyone got any questions in the feed? I'll take them now. If not, I will say that I will be on here tomorrow night. We'll do Preston versus West Brom. See what happens there. When's the FA Cup draw? Yeah, Ipswich might get a Championship team. Ipswich replay against Coventry. I think I mentioned that earlier. Will Fulham make the top 2, says Andrew. Quite possibly, yeah. Looking at it very basically at the moment, looks like those 3, just in terms of the amount of chances they create in games, may be the top 3, which would be a bit boring if it was the top 3 from all this way out to the end. But it could be. Look, I'm looking at the Who Scored table, and it's green for a win on there, and there's just a big blob of wins for those top 3 up there. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting when they all start to play each other. We'll have a look on the fixtures and see when that is going to happen. Oh, Mr. E says Swift out for 4 weeks for Reading. Well, they won without him, but yeah, he's been their key player. When Shaylee getting drunk again, she's got a headache today, bless her. So not today, but we did have some. We've got a nice bottle of gin for Christmas for her already, so started on that. Someone said, oh, Fulham versus Leeds in December, says Andrew. That would be a good one. Then someone said about Leeds going unbeaten for the rest of the season. I'm not too sure about that. It's a Championship, isn't it? Hard old slog, and red card 2 minutes into a game, or like the Millwall game for Leeds, that can just happen. Variety gets sent off at the start. Millwall, West Ham has to happen sooner or later in the FA Cup. Likely as anything, isn't it? We'll see. William says Mitrovic's too good for this league. Agreed. Super LUFC talking about Leeds' defensive record, which we have bigged up already. And same with Brentford. Leeds and Brentford have good defensive records, not because they spend the whole time defending, but because they keep the ball. Don't let the other team have the ball, which was always Pep Guardiola's trick and Brendan Rodgers' trick at Swansea, wasn't it? You don't give the other team the ball, all of a sudden your defensive record gets very, very good indeed. Right, I will bid everybody farewell. Thank you for watching on here. Get your ideas and stuff and comments in on anything I've said. You're allowed to disagree with me, just be nice about it. And I'll see everybody tomorrow night for Preston versus West Brom. Oh, who should Leeds sign in January? I reckon someone to go next to Klitsch in central midfield. A number 8. That would be really what Leeds need, I think. There we go. Anyway, I must go. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Hit subscribe, ring the bell. I'm sure you all already have. And if you want to support me monetarily, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. We give one more thumbs up. Who was it? Leeds, Fulham, and Blackburn. Round of applause to those 3 this week. See ya!